Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the lesson for Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. Alright, so we're going to start this lesson out right from the beginning of the song. We're going to start with just the rhythm guitar part first, and then we're going to go into the lead. Okay, so the rhythm guitar part sounds like this. Alright, so it's pretty simple. Basically, what he's doing is first it starts out on an A power chord here. Okay, then it goes to a B power chord, 2nd fret A string. However, he's putting the 5th in there, so he's also going down and putting his the 2nd fret of the low E string. Okay, so it's a power chord rooted on the A string, but getting that 5th in there. Okay, so getting that lower note on the E string there. Okay, so you just kind of take your first finger and put it down like that. So instead of doing a B power chord, it's still a B power chord, but now it's got a lower note in there. Okay, then doing the same thing on the 3rd fret. Okay, so that's a C power chord with the 5th in the bass. Okay, and then go into just a regular D power chord. Okay, so it goes to the G power chord, which is the 3rd fret. Okay, 3rd fret E string. Alright, so basically, and those are the same power chords that are going on as the drums and bass kick in. However, when the drums and bass are playing, it's no longer doing that lower 5th in the bass. It's just the regular power chords again. Okay, so playing with the rhythm, keep in mind how the rhythm's going. The first, when you're hitting the A, that occurs on the 1. Okay, so notice that when this metronome's playing, the 1 sounds differently than the 2, 3, and the 4. Okay, so keep ear out for that 1. Now, the 1 occurs when A is going, and then you'll hear the 1 again, and then it'll go. Okay, for a double hit on the G. So listen to how that goes. Okay, you hear how that 1, it's the 1 on the A, on the first note of the progression, or the first chord of the progression. And then you hear a 1, and then it goes to that G. Okay, so that's how that rhythm goes. All right, so that's pretty much all the rhythm part is for most of the song. Okay, just play those cool power chords where you're adding in that lower bass note. Okay, so it adds for a heavier sound. All right, so now we're gonna go over the lead part. Alright, so here's the that clean lead that's going on in all the verses, okay? So basically I'm just kind of have a chorus effect on here, and I have a delay effect that's very, very, like almost instantaneous, so. Just a very, very little, like very, very fast delay. Okay, so that's to get that kind of tone. I mean, that's the best I can do to kind of mimic the tone of the actual track. But anyway, the whole thing sounds like this with the looped rhythm. Okay, so basically, this is a little bit tricky to do. It's just one of those things you just got to kind of practice over and over and over until it kind of just like clicks in your head, and then once it clicks, it's really not too bad. But it's without the tabs on the screen, it might be a little tough to follow. So I mean, if you're watching this from the website and you have the tabs on the screen, it's going to be a lot easier. Just follow along exactly with what the tabs are saying, along with what I'm doing. But let me do my best to explain it for those that are viewing from YouTube. So you take your third finger and you put it on the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, and that remains there the whole time. Alright? Alright, so your 3rd fret is, or your 3rd finger is going to go right there, okay? So it's open A string, then to the to that 3rd fret on the B string, and then to the G string, and then to the high E string. So. Alright, and then after you hit that high E string, you're going to want to put your first finger down, covering up the 2nd fret of the G string and the D string. So it's... Alright, actually you hit that 3rd fret one more time on the way down, okay? The 3rd fret B string, so it's... And then you come and you put your pinky on the 4th fret of the D string. Put your first finger down too early, or else it'll mute out that high E string. Okay, so you want to wait until after you hit the E string, and preferably after you hit the 3rd fret of the B string, to then put your first finger down on the 2nd fret of the D and G strings. So. Alright, and then it kind of switches it up here to go into the open D string, then 3rd fret of the B string, 2nd fret of the G string, open G string, open D string, 3rd fret B string, 2nd fret G, and then open D. So this second part goes... So putting the two together slowly, you'll have... Okay, see how I'm doing that? You can even slow that down a little bit more if you want. So it's a little bit tricky of a pattern, but just with practice, you'll get it. Okay, and that's played over the rhythm which was stored in my loop. So let me just play that one more time, and now that I've broken it down for you, maybe you can see how it all fits together. Okay, so it's kind of just a consistent flow the whole time. Okay, so just practice it with the metronome, practice it over the track. You'll get the pattern down with enough practice. All right, so here in this section, we're going to go over the little. It's just a quick little lead that occurs in the chorus, and then we're going to go over the bridge of the song. Okay, which occurs right before the solo. So basically, this is 12 on the E, to the 10 on the E, to the 8 on the B, to the 10 on the E, to the 8 on the B. Okay, so played over top of the looped rhythm, which I have looped here. can play this using natural harmonics too if you want. So instead of doing what I just did there, which was 12, 10, 8 on the B, 10 on the E, 8 on the B, you could do a 12th fret harmonic, okay, on the high E string, to a 7th fret harmonic on the G string, to a 12th fret harmonic on the G string, back to that 7th fret harmonic on the G string, back to the 12th fret harmonic on the G. Okay, it's the same notes, okay? You're going from an E to a D to a G to a D to a G, okay? So that's what these harmonics are. Okay, so you can play it either way. See how they both accomplish the same thing? So whichever way you choose to do it, it's kind of cooler doing it with the natural harmonics because it kind of looks more impressive if that's what you're going for, okay? So that's basically that. So now let's get to the bridge section, which is very, very simple. Alright, so here in this bridge section, there's a lot going on. Not so much guitar-wise, but just a lot of the bass is doing a lot of fancy stuff and all kinds of other instrumentation going on. The guitar part, however, is pretty simple, okay? So it starts off by just doing a basic A chord. So you're only on the D, G, and B strings here. Okay, so it hits that 4 times, okay? And it's all on the pulse, right? On the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's... And then you move the note from the 2nd fret on the G string down 1 fret. Okay, so it goes from an A chord to it's now an A major 7 chord. Okay, and it hits that A major 7 twice. So it goes. Alright, and then it removes you these 2 fingers and just keeping the 1st finger on the 1st fret of the G string, and then still playing those same 3 strings. But now the D and the B string are open. And it hits that once. And then it goes back to the A once. So it goes. Okay? So it's an A to an A major 7. And then this is kind of some sort of a diminished chord here, okay? So I guess this would actually be like a portion of a D diminished chord. Okay, because there's your D, there's your flat 5, there's your double flatted 7. Okay, so it's going, I guess you could call that a D diminished chord. But I'm not 100% sure about that, so don't hold me on that. But that is the chord that is being played. Alright, and then another guitar is up here, 14th fret of the G string and 17th fret of the high E string, which is an octave apart, muting the B string. Okay, so you're just hitting the G and the high E and muting the B, which is in between those 2. And just kind of going with, whatever rhythm kind of just fits the song, alright? So just listen to the song for the exact rhythm, but that's the chord that's being strummed over and over. So to play this, I have the 1 part looped, the part that I just showed you, and just kind of going. That's pretty much all that's going on guitar-wise for the bridge. I know it sounds like a lot more complicated than that in the actual song, but the bass is really doing a lot in this part, okay? So the bass is really taking up a lot of the music, the movement in the music, okay? Guitar-wise, nothing too complicated. All right, so the next section is going to be the solo section. All right, so here's the solo section of the song. Breaking the solo section up into two parts, okay? So just to note real quick that the effect that he's using is he has a harmonizing effect on the guitar, and it's set to a fifth above. Okay, so the harmony that he's doing is 1/5 above whatever note he's playing. However, I'm using the GT100 effects pedal, and my harmonist in this thing just does not sound good at all. So it hits a bunch of bad notes, just a bunch of notes that aren't supposed to be there. It just sounds like crap. So basically I'm going to teach this solo without the harmonist effect on, but keep in mind that if you want the exact effect that's going on there, he's using a harmonist set to a fifth above, okay? If you want to do that, go ahead, but these are the correct notes that I'll be showing you. So with that said, let me just give you a demo of what section 1 is going to sound like. So that's the first part of the solo according to this video. That's what I'm declaring the first part of the solo. So again, it doesn't have the harmonist on there. It doesn't have that fifth harmony above, but it's the correct notes. So if you get a good harmony pedal, set it to a fifth above, it should mimic the sound of the actual song. So what he's doing here is he's on the 8th fret, okay? 8th fret of the B string, and he starts out with a full step bend. Full step bend and then a release. Now note it doesn't start on the 1 here, okay? It's see how it starts a little bit after. Alright, so that's just something to keep in mind. So 8th fret bend on the B string. And then you come down 7 of the D, 7 of the G, 7 of the D again. 5 of the G. And then 7 of the D. You can do a slight little bend of that 5th fret of the G string. Okay, so that's. Alright, and then it does 5 to 8 hammer on the B. Alright, and then it comes up to the 10th fret of the high E string and bends a full step. And then it releases and comes down to the 8 of the high E string, and then 10 of the E string unbent. Okay, so far we have. Alright, and once you hit that 10, it kind of slides out. Alright? So, and then it comes up to the 22nd fret of the high E string, and it bends, full step bend. Now, looking at the tabs, I only have it written once that it's a 22nd fret full step bend, but it's just kind of you bend it up there and you kind of hold it, and you just kind of keep picking, going by feel. So it's alright. It's just a matter of feel, okay? But I only marked it in the tabs one time, okay? So let me play it with the looper up to there, okay? Alright, when you're on that 22nd, you're kind of, you know, like I said, going by feel, but then it's kind of a slow release of that bend, alright? Now, after it does that 22nd fret bend, it comes down to the 5th fret of the D string, it's a little slide into it, to the 2nd fret of the G string, and then to the 4th fret of the G string, half step bend. Okay, so it's a half step bend, and then you slowly release it, and then come down to the second of the G. Alright. Now, after it does that, it does 8 of the E to a hammer of the 10 of the B. And then, so that's 8 of the B, 10 of the B. So it's. Alright, so let me just play up to there so far. So it's. Alright, so that's where we're at now. And then it goes. So that's a little slide into the 10 of the B string, to the 8 of the E string, 10 of the E string, 8 of the E string, 10 of the B string, 9th fret of the G string, and then an open G string. And then when you're on that open G string, you want to use the whammy bar, if you have one, to do a full step bend. If you don't have a whammy bar, you can always come down to the 5th fret here. Alright, and that's the end of the solo section 1. So let me play the whole thing for you. So it doesn't, when you're doing that full step bend with the whammy bar, it's kind of approaching the full, the full step. So it's kind of like you don't have to actually hit that note. It's just approaching that note. Okay, it's implied that it's hitting that one. It's going from a G to a full step above, which is an A. So it's implied that an A is coming, but the solo kind of moves to the next part, so you don't actually have to hit that A, okay? Just something to think about. So that's the first part of the solo. Now we're going to get to the second part of the solo. Alright, so here's the second part of the solo here. Now this is the fast part of the solo, and I haven't found anything else on YouTube that is, kind of breaks it down exactly what's going on. It just kind of seems like a really fast pentatonic lick, but actually breaking it down to fit it in timing wise, I was unable to find anything on YouTube. So I think I have it figured out exactly how the timing is fit in there. Okay, so it's the fast part is actually done using 16th note triplets. Okay, so if you can kind of think of that, but I'll show you how that's done anyway. So this is slowed down to about 80 BPM now. Okay, so we're coming out of here. We just got done, the last solo section is where you do the open G string. Okay, open G string with the bend, okay? So now it comes, and it's, you slide up to the 9th fret of the G string, and then to the 10th fret of the B string, then back to the 9th fret of the G string. And that's the 8th fret of the B string that I'm bending on, so it's... So you're going to want to just kind of bend that up and down. If you're watching this from the website and you're looking at the tabs, I only put the 8 as bending just, one little bend release, but that's just because there's no sense in writing it out 8 times or whatever. So it's just kind of a up and down bend release. Alright, and that comes in a little bit after the 1, so it's... Okay, one more time. Alright, and now for the hard part. The hard part is, it comes in and it bends on the 20th fret of the B string. full step. Alright, but you want to time this bend such that on the 2, okay, so remember how the 1 sounds different from the 2, 3, and the 4. Okay, so you have the 1 and then the 2 sounds differently. So you want to time this so you're releasing this bend and you start doing this run right on the 2. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, see how I started that on the 2? Alright, so I'm down here on the 17th fret at the point of the 2. Alright, and then it goes through the fast run, which I'm about to show you in a second. So, keep that in mind. So, putting those two together, it's... Okay, so you see how right at the point where I'm at that 17th fret, that's on the 2, so you want to time that bend of the 20th fret of the B string so that you're releasing it and coming down on that 17th fret right on the 2, okay? Because right on the 2 is where you're going to start doing this little run. So what this little run is it's 17 on the B string, 20 on the B string, 17 on the E string, okay, so it's, and then it's 20 on the E string, 19 on the E string, and then 20, 19, 17, and then 20 on the B string. So it's... Once you're down to that 20th fret of the B string, now it does these 16th note triplets, okay? And it goes, so that's 6 notes right there. So it's 17 on the high E, 20 on the B, 17 on the B, 20 on the B, 17 on the B, 19 on the G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, right after those, right after that grouping of 6, then it goes. Okay, so that's 17 on the B, 19 on the G, 17 on the G, 19 on the D, 19 on the G, 19 on the D again, and then a full step bend of the 17 of the G. So it's... You'll know that you did this right because you're going to be doing this bend of the 17th fret of the G string. You're going to be doing that bend right as the G chord is occurring. So once that G chord's occurring in the rhythm, this bend is going to be taking place. So you have... Okay, so you see how that fits in there? It's not super easy to do clean. I'm not perfect at it, far from perfect at anything I play, but that's the way this is timed, okay? So the whole second solo here coming out of here, you have... the second half of the solo. So hopefully I was able to break that down for you. That was very tricky to try and figure out exactly how that was phrased in there, but I listened to it over and over and over and over and over and over a million times to figure out exactly where the key points of the phrasing were. Like, so where to start the bend on the 20, where to release, where to start doing the fast run, and then how the fast run fits in there timing wise, and where the fast run ends, how it ends on that G chord in the rhythm. Okay, so that was kind of tricky for me to figure out, but hopefully I was able to break that down well enough for you. Alright, so let's get on to the next part of the song. Alright, so here's the final section of the song. Alright, so after the solo, it goes back into that the same thing that we went over in the first section. It's that lead that occurs in the verses. Okay, so it goes to that. We already went over that. And now it goes to the outro. Alright, and then it goes to the outro, I mean. And the outro is basically, it starts out the same as the bridge with those chords. How you had the A chord, just the 3 strings, and the D, G, and B strings. To the A major 7. To that D diminished chord. Alright, while it's doing that thing up here on the 14 of the G and the 17 of the high E. Alright, so it does that for, I believe, 4 measures. And then it does kind of like a, I don't know if you call it a key change, but it sounds kind of like a key change. It then switches to, and the rhythm section is an F chord. Okay, so it's doing an F chord. Alright, and it hits the F chord 4 times, and then 3 times, and then on the last one it switches to a F major 7. So it's... Okay, so, and while it's doing that, just the same type of octave chord, except it's not 14 and 17, now it's 17 and 20. So it's 17 on the G, 20 on the high E. Alright, so that's pretty much it. There's a lot of other instrumentation going on, just as is throughout the whole song, so it's tough to distinguish between the guitar and, you know, all the other stuff that's going on, but this is what I'm picking up from it. So let me just play the whole outro, okay? So starting out with what we already went over in the bridge, and then it's switching to this key change type thing, which is kind of like an F, or it is an F, but it's kind of like a key change, I mean. Alright, so it sounds like this. Pretty much all it is, and it kind of just fades out from there. Alright, so that's it for the song. The song is a very weird song, definitely one of the weirdest songs that I've yet taught, but whatever. I went over, tried my best to learn it, 2-track, get the timing right on everything, exactly how it's done, trying to distinguish the guitar from everything else. I did my best. If I left anything out, or if I was too confusing, or if I missed anything, hit me up. Otherwise, thanks for watching.